And hello, football fans. My name is Scott Warras, joined by the Luther Cup and the head coach of the Warriors football team, Eric Treske. This is a season recap of the 2024 Warriors football season. A memorable season, 7-3, 6-2 in the conference, a third-place finish in the NAC, and bringing back the Luther Cup. Thanks to a big victory on Saturday over Concordia, Wisconsin. Coach, thanks for the time. Look forward to doing this here one more time. 27-17 to bring the trophy back for the first time since 2021. There was some resiliency there. It was a great game. We asked you for a good game, and you gave the broadcast team a good one.
You know, we're doing it for the ratings. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Yep. No, it was a phenomenal performance. Just one of the more complete games that I think we've played as a team. And I think that the best part was just to see how our guys rallied together. You know, they had a strong start. Concordia came out in a really strong first drive. If you had been here around us, you kind of felt a little bit like St. Norbert the way they drove the field down the first drive. But our offense answered, and we kind of dictated the pace the rest of the game. Guys stayed together. It was definitely one we'll remember for a long time.
What was the messaging? Because you're right. I mean, Concordia takes that the kickoff, the first drive, 9 plays, 73 yards, everything on the ground, about 5 minutes off the clock. And what was the messaging on the sidelines? What was the tone after that opening drive, and they struck first?
Well, you and I talked, like, our defense is a strength. It's the heart of our team. Not to say that our offense hasn't had good days or good plays, but just, you know, where they've gone, we've followed. Mm-hmm. And so I think there was a lot of trust on the sideline, like, hey, listen, we're going to get it fixed. You know, we're going to review the film. We're going to go through our fits. We're going to make some adjustments. And we're going to get back where we need to be. And, you know, our role offensively was just to make sure, hey, let's respond. Let's come back as a team. We'll answer with our punch. And then let's get back at it together. And that's exactly what happened. You know, there's a couple different fits that were different than we thought. You know, one thing that people maybe aren't aware of, you know, you get banged up as the season progresses. We had to practice a little bit differently, a little less physically at times to make sure that your guys are healthy. And so I think that was some of it, was getting used to a new run fit. We had a different plan this week. That took some adjustments, some kind of settling in. But as the game progressed, our defense definitely did a great job.
So listen to these numbers. So Concordia possesses the ball for about 5 minutes on their opening drive, the touchdown we talked about. After that, they only had possession of the ball for about 13 minutes. It was 42-18 time of possession in favor of your team. That was wild. That was the story.
It was the story. It was the story. And quite honestly, I was really impressed by our players, and not to try to overhype it, but Concordia is very good on both lines of scrimmage. We felt like that was going to be a key to the game, was not even necessarily winning the line of scrimmage, but neutralizing it. And we left no doubt. Like, at least on Saturday, we were the better team up front. We were able to play physically in the run game. You know, obviously Liam had a great game, but none of that happens without the guys in front of them. And even kind of an extension of the run game is, you know, how we throw our screen game and some of those things. And that was had a huge impact on the game. It let us control the flow, let us control the pace, let us be aggressive at times, but also still convert when need be. So I think we had almost 30 first downs. I mean, it was just methodical football.
And your third down conversion rate was outstanding as well. Because you guys' ability to control things up front. You mentioned Liam Hygis. He won the NAC's Conference Athlete of the Week award for his 33 carries, a season career high. He's a freshman. 177 yards, 2 yards short of his career high earlier this year against Buena Vista. A couple of scores as well. And I know Wayne talked to him in the postgame, and Adam had an interview with him here in the studio earlier this week. He looked as fresh as I can remember a running back looking fresh for being the 10th game of the year and the fourth quarter of the 10th game of the year.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to his training regimen. You know, like, if you watched any of our games, you'd notice, like, Liam does not play like a freshman.
You told me that early.
At all.
You said, wait till you see him. He doesn't look like other freshmen.
No, not at all. Not at all. But, I mean, he trains really hard. Like, he's dedicated to making sure that he's physically ready to play. He's a student of the game, very coachable. Honestly, the whole running back room is like that. But, you know, we had talked about those freshmen in particular, Carson and Liam. They both take great pride in their preparation. And so you got to see it in that game. You know, we even looked at, do we swap hands? Do we keep them fresh for the game. And every drive, he said, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. And then we were like, okay, we're going to roll with the hot hand today. So, yeah.
Okay, speaking of hot hands, first of all, tip of the cap to your quarterback, Bryce Barbie, and he was extremely efficient. I felt like that was kind of maybe a lost storyline and everything else that happened on Saturday. I mean, I looked at the stats, and you're late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and he's only had 3 or 4 incompletions. I mean, he was extremely accurate. And 2 of his favorite targets, obviously, Emmett Hawkins tied the single-season touchdown record with 14 of them this year, just the 3rd wide receiver to ever go over 900 yards receiving. And then Jamil Gordon tied the single-season receptions record with 73. Those 2 guys, it all culminated really well for them, with Bryce obviously getting them the rock.
Yeah, Bryce is the distributor, and those guys are incredible playmakers. You know, I will say, is we talk often about those 2, but none of that happens without the collective. You know, and not to take anything away, I just screens are such a big part of who we are, what we do. We view it as a part of our run game. Oftentimes, you know, Jamil's on the receiving end of those screens, but he doesn't go anywhere without guys like Drew Mears or Matt Korb or Colin Amick, or a whole host of guys that take pride in blocking for their teammates. And you got to see it on Saturday. I mean, it was impressive how physical they were on the edge.
Well, you're absolutely right. And on the broadcast, Dennis Miller had mentioned that and was keying in on that all game, because you use that quad sets a lot.
Yes.
What was it? I'm curious. I wanted to ask you this all week. What was it about what you saw maybe from Concordia that allowed you to have that alignment, at least in the home games we've seen more than any other game this year?
Yeah. Hopefully Greg doesn't watch this. There was a distinct advantage. You play the last game of the year. We're very familiar opponents. You know, he and I have coached against each other for a long time. I respect, you know, how he runs his team and his defense. But there's some things that we saw that we felt like created an advantage, just in terms of numbers or leverage, you know, space, those kinds of things. And so we became a pretty heavy quad team that day. It's funny, we had some alums that came to see us play, and that was really special. But you know, a lot of them coach, so they can't be here all the time. So like, man, you guys must be in the quads thing all the time. Like, if you watched, like, honestly, not that much. But this game, that was what we needed, and our guys executed, and we had a couple good answers off it. So.
And that's where the blocking, like you talked about, by those other 3 guys in the set, set it all up and make it a true success. Before we talk about the post-game celebration, the pregame, senior day, recap those emotions, having 17 players go through the line for the final time, and some of the greats to ever play honored there as part of that ceremony.
Yeah, we're gonna miss every senior, and obviously on the field there's some that played a large role in how we've been able to grow our program again. I think, and I've been able to express it to the seniors. We get a chance to do a little post-game celebration with the guys and reflect on their careers and obviously the season this year as well. What those seniors were able to do, it's really hard to try to flip a program. And what I mean by that is, you know, in 2019, we were coming off a back-to-back 2-8 seasons. You know, I got hired shortly after, and we were trying to you know, regain what WLC football had been able to do for a while, and that's be a strong competitive program that's rooted in their faith in Christ and shows about how you play for each other. That sounds real nice. That's really hard to do. It's hard to win, period, and it's hard to have success. And the process of getting there, it takes a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance, and a lot of trust. And those guys trusted in our staff and in each other. They were dedicated. They worked through some low moments, but they didn't waver. So for them to be able to taste that success and be able to go out on what I would say is a high note, it was special, and those guys really earned that. And you know, I'm meeting with all of our players now, postseason wrap-up meetings, and you know, to a guy, all these young players are talking about how much they appreciate the seniors taking them in under their wing, making them feel loved, making them feel welcome. Like, it's a special group.
The greatest compliment you can pay is that they've left the program in a better shape than when they got here.
Yep.
I mean, in a sentence, that pretty much sums it up.
That's it.
Right?
I should have said that instead.
No.
You're right, though, 100%, man. Like, yeah, much better.
Isn't that something? Real quickly, just a couple notes here. Arnulfo Ortega leaves the school as the all-time leading scorer, most field goals made, most extra points made in history. of Warriors football. Savon Goodwin finishes third in total tackles all time. Kyle Kubacki, number 4 in total sacks. Connor Martin, 6th in career interception totals. Okay, post game. And for those of you who watched, you saw it. And if you didn't, you go back to YouTube and you can watch. Scroll all the way to the end. You know, you just move the little thing along to the very end, and you'll see Wayne Chevy had a lot of interviews with a lot of the guys on the field. But we were able to capture the recapturing of the Luther Cup.
Yep.
I think it was Kyle Kubacki who got there first and then kind of waited to touch it until everybody else came, and then the whole group celebration was on. That was wild. That was great.
Wild.
That was fun. And then, Coach, you got into the action there at the very end.
Got in the mix a little bit. Yeah,
a little bit. You were in it a lot.
Was not expecting to be drenched. So yeah, that was a good time, man. Definitely memories that I'll never forget. And I think, we don't play for trophies. I know that sounds odd, but we don't. We play for each other. But this is just really like a representation of the progress we've made as a team, you know, and to be able to see, like, as we focus on being the best we can be, using all the gifts that God gave us for the guys around us, good things happen and other people notice.
Yeah.
You know?
Those seniors left this program in a better place,
Yep.
and they left this they left this here at 8800 West Blue Mound Road. That's a nice little calling card. Take us behind the scenes right now. You kind of alluded to it. So the season just ended a couple days ago. You and your staff now spend this week or the next couple weeks with postseason wrap-up meetings. Is that all individual, one-on-one type of
Yes,
situation?
yeah. So it's kind of right now, it's always a weird time. When the season ends, you see each other every day, you're working towards this common goal, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, it ends, and everyone's got to part their ways and kind of finish up their business on their own, and it's always odd. But we try to be intentional. Meet with all of our returning players first. We'll eventually meet with all the seniors as well, and talk about, get their thoughts on the season, reflections on the season as a whole, season individually. Talk about, I would say short-term, long-term type goals, and then get some feedback on what can we do? What can we do as a staff to improve their experience or help take things to the next step? So it's valuable having those meetings. And then kind of alongside that happening, we're also, the time waits for no one. You're on the road, you're hitting the ground recruiting.
I was going to ask you about recruiting, yeah.
Yeah, that's the other piece to the puzzle. And so, the goal is to try to get all of our player meetings done before Thanksgiving as we start to slowly but surely get on the road. So,
I have to ask this because with the way college sports is changing and has changed, you have to recruit new guys, obviously. That's always been the case. But, you hear this talked about a lot at Division I level, but trickling all the way down to D3, do you feel like there is some re-recruiting of your current guys because of the player mobility that is a reality now in college sports?
I think that's a reality to some degree. I also think, the bigger schools are going to start feeling this because it's always kind of been that way with Division III, that you're a little more mobile. There's fewer things holding you. You don't have an athletic scholarship.
That's true.
You have the ability to put your name in the portal or do a self-release without any approval from the coach and no consequence, right? So it's been like that for a while in D3, and I think it puts the onus on a staff and on a coach to create a positive and loving environment. Like, guys leave because they don't feel appreciated, they don't see a future for themselves, right? They don't feel close or connected. Like, that's why guys leave. It becomes a transactional thing, right? A lot of people at the high levels, why do they go from one school to the other? Because, this school's going to give me more playing time, give me more money, whatever it is. At our level, some of those things don't exist, but at the core of it all is like create a good experience, make people realize how valued they are, and you have to do a little bit less re-recruiting because they feel a part of it from day one. So I think we do a little bit of that. I guess my hope is that the guys really understand we did a good job of communicating like how much we love them, how much we care about them, how much they mean to this program, and how, in due time, their name's going to be called and they're going to make their mark.
That's well said. 7-3, 6-2, third place in the NAC. Can I ask you a question about next year already?
You can ask, yes.
I mean, there will be, based on, if we just take a look at the two deep or the roster as it is constructed right now, and there probably will be some changes, it just happens. But based on who you have coming back, offensively, there's a lot of weapons that are going to be back. I mean, expectations internally were high this year. I have a feeling that next year, yes, that'll still be the case, but there might be more external expectations on the program, which is a compliment to what you guys accomplished this year.
Yeah.
How do you go about navigating that, should that be the case?
There certainly could be. I think it's dangerous when you allow others to begin to shape how you operate within your program, whether that's as a coach or as a player. This year, everybody thought we would be 6th in the league, and we were able to get to 3rd. And those predictions, while they're nice and maybe they can be a bulletin board thing or whatever it is, like none of that really matters. All that matters is the work that we're putting in right in front of us. All of our guys, I think, feel like now we know like what it takes, and now we know. I think the hardest part is believing you can do it, right? For years we felt like we were on the cusp, and now the guys were able to see like what we've been talking. I mean, the teams that we're losing to is we have a team that is in a bowl game right now, and we have two playoff teams that have buys. So like we're competitive with teams that are playing at a really, really high level. Our guys know that now. The challenge really becomes who's ready to take the lead. We lose some good vocal leaders. And then will we stay hungry, right? You can't get, as good as this feeling is and as proud as I am of our accomplishments in 2024, they don't give you wins from the previous season, right? So we got to go back, and we can't get complacent. We got to stay hungry and more than anything, just chase our best.
All right. For the last time this year, we're going to play 5 questions. And all questions are tied to the 2024 Warriors football season, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Number 1, the most memorable off-field moment of this season.
Off-field.
Off-field moment. Maybe emotional, maybe hilarious. Did the bus get stuck this year?
No bus is stuck.
No bus
like
issues.
that.
Something that was really memorable off the field that, I don't know, bring a tear to your eye or a smile to your face.
I don't know if like any one memory, just like, I know that sounds weird, but I think it's just seeing our guys interact with one another, seeing our guys embrace like a culture, like of prayer, of brotherhood. It's just those small things like watching our guys grow, especially in terms of living their faith out. That's pretty cool. I was talking with my wife, like this is a ministry first. It just happens to be through the game of football. And so being able to see some guys that maybe were timid or cautious about their faith or unsure, and that's okay. I was unsure when I got here. To see them embrace like what it means to have a loving father that cares for them and wants the best for them, and how to share that same news with other people. I saw that this year. So I would say that was a big thing. Yeah.
That's well said. Number 2, the biggest surprise development this season, either individually or as a team collectively. Somebody or some dimension of the team that, I don't know, if we were to go back and play our season preview way back at the end of August, early September, you would have thought, I didn't see that coming, or better than I thought.
I would say in terms of better than I thought.
Yeah.
I
prefer that surprise than the other side.
No, because there was like, you look at our linebacking core was really special, but that wasn't as surprising. Though I'll say the young linebackers are very impressive. That was a little surprising to us that they're more ready to play. I would say the run game. Like we had gone into the season, that was a big question mark. Weren't quite sure. We had some missing holes from last year. 2 of our leading rushers were no longer with us, and we had some freshmen that are very unproven. You never know how that goes. And even up front, some new faces up front. But there were some games where we really demonstrated physicality that we hadn't in the past. And obviously we've talked about, Liam and Carson and Tywin and Seth and all those guys. That was a nice surprise to see us be able to run the ball the way we did.
Yeah, especially, those young guys, as we've talked about. I mean, nobody could have known. I mean, you knew they were good, but even like you said, the battle for that position to the last, to kick off of the opener that was still up in the air.
And even after the first game, the first game was not a beautiful run game. It was maybe 40 yards total, 30 yards total, but we were able to develop and grow that group. It's a testament, Coach Foss, Coach Golasso, Coach Bond, those guys really own our run game, and I think we ended up averaging almost 5 yards a carry, so that's a pretty special thing. It was cool.
Number 3, who is the greatest unsung hero of this program this season?
The greatest unsung hero.
Somebody who nobody even thinks about outside the program, somebody who does little things.
It's a tie, all right?
Good.
You ready for it? It's a tie. Elijah, actually both, they were in the QB room together for years. Elijah Chevy, long snapper. No one ever thinks about him. They don't have awards for it, unfortunately, but man, was he good. You never had to question anything about our operations on punt unit or field goal unit. A few of those guys may get recognized, all conference and stuff like that, but it's because of him and the work they put in together. So Elijah did an amazing job there. And then the other one is Nate Laborde. And Nate is a guy that was actually playing for us week 1. He's playing some outside backer, had been a quarterback for us for 3 years. We had an injury, and he was just so selfless, man. Like to say, hey, Nate, I know you're playing a little bit, but can you be our third string guy? Can you come and run the scout team? You know, can you help us make sure that we have reserve games where all the young guys get to play? And he did it without question, and he did it very, very well and ran it at a high level. He's going to be an amazing coach. He's an amazing teammate, and he's a good quarterback as well. So no one saw that. Didn't get to see him really throw a pass this year, but man, did he do a great job.
What was your proudest moment as a coach this year? One particular moment.
I would say.
I know I'm making you.
No, that's a hard one.
Split the baby
there's so many. Yeah, there's so many good moments. I would honestly just say, watching our guys begin to hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
You know, like the last game, it's a rivalry game. It's intense. It's senior day. It's it's not only our seniors' last game. It's theirs too. And so there's just energy, that can go pretty heated. And Concordia had some late hits, some cheap hits at times. And watching our guys no, we don't play that way here, right? Like just owning what it means to uphold a culture, right? It's one thing to have a word on your T-shirt or on a sign. It's another thing to live it and to see our guys do that. And early in the year, who was it? It was your upperclassmen, right? At the end of the year, it was freshmen, it was sophomore. They were embracing that too, and so that's the proudest moment. Is just seeing those guys really take pride in that and do it themselves.
Number 5. Let me just add this: Concordia had 6 15-yard penalties on Saturday.
Thank you. That helped.
Throw that in there. By comparison, the Warriors were good there.
Yep.
Number 5, the most indelible, lasting image of the 24 football season. You get one snapshot, you get one photo to put on your mantle that encapsulates the 2024 season. What is the image? What is the snapshot that you saw?
I posted a picture that might be it. It was the end of the game, and it was Savon Goodwin and Vinnie Brim, 2 seniors, just in a full embrace with each other. And I think about where those 2 kids were 4 years ago and how different they are as people and how different their backgrounds are. I mean, you got Vinnie from Oconomowoc, Lake Country Lutheran kid, going to be a doctor and save lives and do amazing stuff. And you got Savon, who's an incredibly gifted player and leader and coming all the way from New Orleans and wasn't sure about this place at first. He's from a storied program in New Orleans. Leonard Fournette, all these guys went there, and he comes here, and first year he's here, we're 3-7, and see him, both those guys just be fully invested into this thing, and they're just, you see them embrace each other, you can tell they left everything on the field for each other, and to build that bond together, man, that's what you do it for. It's special.
And the bonus question, the last question,
boy.
Coach.
Here we go.
What one word, not sentence, one singular word best describes the 2024 WLC football team? You get one word.
Love. We talk about it a lot, but our guys truly live that out. Love is putting someone else above yourself, and no team can be all it's capable of being without that. And I definitely saw that from countless guys, and I saw it consistently, and that was pretty special, man. Again, it's not for me. I'm hearing it in my player meetings. All the players are saying, "I've never been a part of a team like this. I've never had seniors embrace me like this. This is unlike any." I won't say his name. I had a kid in my office. He goes, "I've been playing sports since I was 4 years old. I've been on all sorts of teams. I've never had a team like this. Never once." And when you hear that. It just makes you think wow, this is something our guys are really embracing. They're owning it, and it's a privilege to be their coach, man.
Well, that's a credit to you and your staff and the culture that you've brought about and cultivated here very much. All right. On a much lighter note,
Yeah.
so how does this thing work now on the way out here? Like, does everybody get it for a day or a week like the Stanley Cup?
I think that's a dangerous proposition.
Probably. Is it in your office now
It's
until next year?
currently
or what?
in my office.
Okay.
Yeah, every once in a while it makes its way over to Adam's office.
Oh boy.
He does the touch-ups, gets the new scores on there.
Yeah.
The cup is larger, actually, thanks to Adam Heinzen. So, Concordia, that's a gift from us to you as well. Hopefully you don't get to enjoy it much. But
That means it's going to get bigger now next year.
it might get bigger. Who knows? Who knows what Adam's cooking up over there? But yeah, it's going to be in the office. The guys have all seen it as they come up with my
Sure.
meetings, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, we used to let the players have it, and that's been a revoked privilege. We'll just say that.
Oh, we're out of time.
We're out of
Otherwise,
time.
I'd
No
ask
more
questions
stories
about
for
that
that.
story.
Yeah.
Coach, in 289 days, you'll kick it off against St. Scholastica.
Let's go.
Until then, thanks for everything.
Thank you, brother.
Best of skill. Thanks for watching all season long. Warriors football here on WLCSports.com.